Flash Season 2, Episode 6, Enter Zoom. Definitely an amazing episode, without a doubt. The ending, of course, was the best part, but there was some really good stuff that happened before, because we get, we get this sort of flashback type of episode where we start sort of towards the end, and then it goes back, and it's like, alright, we knew what was happening. Even from the promo, I thought that this was going to be a bad idea, and I mentioned that in my last review. And I was so glad that Joe, it was only one person still, I feel like it should have been more, but they only had like 6 people to, really talk about this, so at least Joe was like the one person like, are we sure this is like the best idea ever? Because everybody was just kind of pushing to make sure this happened. Like, no one was thinking like, maybe this will work, maybe it won't. Everyone was just like, alright, we set this up, we set that up, training and stuff. Everyone was really pushing for it except for Joe, and I was like, I'm glad that somebody's at least somewhat doubting it, because I thought it was a bad idea from the start, to be totally honest. And it didn't play out the way that I thought it would. Like the scene where Linda is confronted by Zoom, I thought for sure that was going to be because she was actually taken through the portal, and then they'd have to, figure out some crazy stuff and, try to get her back. But it does end up being a bad idea. The reason, the fact that it doesn't work makes me wonder what the reason is. It brings up a couple of questions, because they talk about how Zoom may or may not be able to see through the breaches, and that was kind of the big thing, because otherwise, how would people get back? And I think it's true. I think it is true that Zoom can actually see through these breaches, and Zoom may or may not have known, what took place, because, we don't really know exactly where, all the breaches are, but considering their horrible acting during that scene where Linda misses Barry and he's just like, oh, and he falls over, which was hilarious. I love that. Like, I was just cracking up during that stuff. Considering all of that, if he really can see through breaches, that would explain why none of that worked. And he probably knew, he could, because we already knew, like, it's still not 100%, but it was kind of thrown out there that Zoom chose Dr. Light because they knew that he knew, or because he knew that Barry was with Earth 1 Linda Park. So it brings up, that question. It wasn't 100%. That's kind of something that, even in the show, they were just speculating, like, maybe he already knew that, and that's why, he chose Dr. Light this time. But I don't know if that's the case. I feel like it was probably just totally random, because that seemed to be the case beforehand, and I think that was just something that they kind of threw in there to mix things up a bit. But we don't really know. Like, you never know. We still don't know who this person is. This episode was definitely a good indicator as to sort of the size and build of Zoom, because we got like a lot of close-up shots of the person. So whoever it is, it's obviously not Barry. If it's going to end up being an evil version of Barry, which I don't think it is, it could be. This is something my girlfriend mentioned. What if it was Barry's dad? Like in Earth 2, he was actually evil, but I don't know. Like, technically, anyone could be anything, because people who aren't metahumans in Earth 1 are metahumans in Earth 2. So his dad could easily just be the scientist. It could have been a little bit reversed, where, Barry was the one in jail, which we saw at the end of Season 1, and so I'm speculating that could be, she could be right, where it's actually Barry's dad who ends up being Zoom, because he does have sort of a stocky build. The only other couple of people it could really be would be like another Jay Garrick for some reason, like, I don't know, or like Joe maybe, and that's really about it. And it would be interesting if it was Jay Garrick, and I had an idea where it could have been him, but then it was like, okay, well, he officially got turned into Flash, like he's making hard water or whatever, dense water, and that's how he got transformed. So it was, like the comics, it was just him doing an experiment. But there was some person, like Harrison Wells has to know who Zoom is, because he created Zoom, so he knows if only one person was down there with him during like the accelerator explosion, or this explosion that happened. He knows exactly who Zoom is, but he won't say anything just yet. And I'm not sure what to expect. I don't know what to think about it. I don't, excuse me, I don't think it would be another, like a split version of Harrison Wells, because once again, the build is bigger than him too, so it's not going to be an evil Wells, but it just makes me wonder, like, who the heck could this person be? And, after what my girlfriend said is, like, that's the only thing I can think of, is that maybe that's what they're going to do. And in this universe, because the costume and everything, it's the same as Barry's costume, except it's black and it has like the weird sort of stretched mouth thing, which is really awesome. And I love the voice. I like the voice when we got like the little taste of it before, but this was like just evil and just distorted voice, and it was really awesome. His fingers, like he has like little claws on his costume instead of just normal fingers. So definitely like the creepy ghost version of the Flash. But whoever it is no freaking joke, and they will not let Barry be the fastest man alive. They just won't do it because every time it's like last season he was the fastest man alive until like I think the mid-season finale was when he first fought Reverse Flash, and then after that he would say like I'm not the fastest man alive. Then he's the fastest man alive. Here comes Zoom, and even Zoom himself said that don't forget I'm the fastest man alive, and I was like that's just messed up. Like they will not let Barry have that title for more than half a season. Like and it's even less this time than it was last year. So they won't let him have it. Zoom certainly proved that he is faster because of that amazing fight scene that they had in this episode, which was insane when Barry's, he's doing his move and he's about to throw lightning, which was very awesome because we never got to see it in slow motion. We saw it when he did it against Sand Demon and he runs around. And the way he does that, he kind of threw it with one arm. So it was just like, alright, he threw it with his one arm. And that was pretty much it. He got him and he totally killed that guy. But this time he did it with both arms and he did like an X cross type of thing. And we actually saw it in slow motion go towards Zoom. But when they did it with Sand Demon, it was like, oh, he threw it and that was pretty much it. But it turned into like an actual bolt of lightning. And I was like, that's really cool just to see that. And then Zoom, like, 3 times upped what Barry just did by doing like a freaking front flip, grabbing a bolt of lightning and just like doing a javelin toss. And Barry didn't know what to do. He wasn't even fast enough to react to that counter. He gets taken out, and that was just an insane scene. My girlfriend was like all over the place when that happened. She like was off the couch on the floor all over the place because it like blew her mind. And it blew my mind too, but I was laughing at her more than anything else after she reacted that way. But it was an amazing scene. Like I didn't expect that to happen. I thought, okay, he's gonna throw it. When it was in slow motion, I honestly figured he'd be fast enough to dodge it. Like that itself, I thought was gonna be cool enough. Like, oh, he's fast enough to where he could see it coming, and he just dodges it like it was nothing, and it's a bolt of lightning. But then he actually grabs it physically. Like, here's a bolt of lightning coming at you. To dodge it in itself was one thing, but he does like this weird sort of front flip and grabs it and throws it like Zeus, and then just hits Barry and knocks him into this thing. And then he breaks Barry's spine, which I wasn't 100% sure that happened until they did like this sort of the final scene. And he's beating him up and stuff. Barry also got hit twice with the speed dampening stuff. So he got stabbed by the one, because when they run up in the air, he got hit by that one because Zoom got it from him and he like stabbed him while they were falling to the ground. So he had already been hit by that and was losing his speed, he was losing his speed from that one, and then Wells tried to get the element of surprise on Zoom. He catches that and then just stabs that one straight into Barry's heart. So he basically is like destroyed his speed for a little bit, which is obviously coming into play. But when he like punched him in the back and they had that noise, I was like, I think he may have like messed up his spine just now, and he fell over. And it could have just been simple because he was getting beat up in general, so it wasn't. I was like, maybe he did, but it could just be the fact that he's just welling on him, like he can't keep up with this guy, and he just got hit by a bolt of lightning. He can fall over, and it doesn't have to be because he got hit in the spine really hard. But he can't feel his legs, and of course we know he's going to heal from that, but that was insane to see that happen. And he doesn't have his speed because he got hit twice with the dampeners, which it proves that those work. Now they just need like another chance to get to Zoom, so they can actually use it. But it was an insane episode, just sheer madness at the end. Like most of this episode was pretty normal, very funny episode for sure. Like with Linda training and stuff, and the beams were like way too powerful in the beginning, and Cisco's like, that's my bad, and Cisco just having those weird silly cutouts and him with like the picture and just like his tongue out and stuff. All of that was really, really funny. Like, I love this episode for its comedy. And Linda even finds out that Barry is the Flash. Like, he tries to convince her and stuff. We hear Joe, because he's, him being sort of the one doubting this mission, he tells Barry, like, if you're sure you want to do this, or you want someone to risk their life, you better be sure, why you want them to do it. And that was a really good moment, because he was talking to him like, it seems like you just want to, beat Zoom because you weren't the one that beat, the Reverse Flash. And it was really good that we got, that conversation, and Barry's like, that's not exactly the reason, it's more so the fact that, Zoom got to me at the end because he said I'd never be happy. And ever since then, there has kind of been this void, and he thinks that if he can defeat Zoom, it'll kind of help fill that void, because he can take on, these insanely, these grand challenges and do something that, is seemingly impossible at this point, and it would at least somewhat help fill that void for him. And I thought that was really good. It showed that his drive isn't exactly to just be the hero. It's kind of to help him realize his own potential in a little bit, and help him kind of fill a hole that's missing, because he couldn't save his mother. So I really like that conversation. Like I said, everything else pretty funny. We had Spivet. She's really getting close to things, and of course Joe's he's really pushing her off, and she's like, oh, she talks about not having secrets, so she tells him about Barry and her kissing, and she's like, anything you want to tell me? And he's just like, no. And then that's it, and he's obviously shutting it down for a good reason. But I think she's going to find out, if not at the mid-season finale, she has to find out this season. Like, everyone, all the main characters seem to know Barry's secret. She might not find out Barry's secret exactly, but she's gonna, well, that's really the only secret, so that has to be it. She has to find out, because she knows about metahumans. That's a part, she's on the task force. So that's the only other secret, is that Barry is really the Flash. And I don't know. Like, I don't know how long that's going to take, but I'm pretty sure she's going to figure it out. Like, it's going to happen. Like, it's just going to happen. Might be a little bit later rather than sooner, but pretty much guaranteed that that's taking place. So I'm looking forward to whenever that happens. But for now, we're going to see her get a little bit closer. She's in the promo for the Grodd episode, talking about, like, there's this legend about, giant gorilla and stuff like that. Who knows what her role is going to be. I think it'll be fairly important, though, because there's not going to be Barry to help save anyone. So it's going to be on the rest of the team. It may or may not get Jay Garrick to come back, although we don't really know where he is. I thought for sure that he was in Earth 2, but they talked about it, and he just kind of left. I thought he just went back to Earth 2. I was wrong thinking that. I thought that's where he went when he left. But the way they say it is like, oh, he's gone. They make it seem like he just left somewhere else. So I don't know. I always thought he just went back to Earth 2. But either way, looking forward to him coming back. Zoom in this episode was just super cool. Like, very deadly, and the way that he was, like, just running around, like, he was basically, it seemed like he was really strong to me too. Like, it almost seemed like superhuman strength. Like, he has Linda, like, with one arm, which you can do, but when I first saw it, I was like, I can't do that. So I was just thinking, like, you have to be, like, super strong. But he was holding Barry up with, like, one arm, and was just, like, waving him around like a rag doll. Like, he goes to the news, and it's like, look at this, look at that. And then he goes to the cops, and he's just wiggling them around like nothing. He catches all those bullets with one hand. I thought that was a really cool scene, actually. And then they have, like, the scene where he's running, and they go to slow motion, and Barry's just, like, knocked out and just like a flag, like, waving in the wind and stuff. So it was just, like, insane. And he paraded him around the whole city. And then he went back to finally kill him. Like, he went and basically just messed with everyone's heads. Like, look what I'm about to do. And then he went back to Star Labs, to, like, the main people. And that's when he was finally going to kill Barry. And I was wondering how he was going to do it. Because when he stabbed Barry, like, with his finger, I thought he was actually siphoning off his power. Because he took Jay Garrick's power somehow. I don't believe that has anything to do with the fact that Jay ended up being sucked into Earth 1. I figured Zoom actually, like, absorbed his power. And I don't know, maybe that's why he's so fast. Maybe he can absorb other speedsters' abilities or something like that. I don't think that's his ability. I don't think anyone has that ability in the comics except for Barry, actually. And maybe Wally West in the comics. But I don't know, maybe that was the case. Because I was like, why did he just stick him, like, with his finger? I thought he was going to, like, somehow siphon his abilities. And I thought that's where they were going to take things, but he'd already been stabbed twice, so either way, he kind of doesn't have his power right now. But I thought for sure that's what Zoom was doing, because I was like, it's weird that he stuck him with his finger instead of instantly going to like sort of the phasing molecule type of hand. I don't know what you'd actually call that, but instead of just stabbing him straight in the chest, he like stuck him with his finger. I was like, what is he doing that for? So that could be the reason he was doing that, was gonna like try to siphon off a little bit of his speed beforehand. But it was a crazy show of force at the end for sure, and it was definitely amazing. Like, he's so fast. The blue lightning I love, because I just love blue lightning more than any other lightning, because I always thought blue looks cooler than like yellow or gold lightning. So that was really awesome to see. His lightning doesn't even stop either. Like, that was something I noticed too. Like, his lightning is just like constantly surging around, and like it's like so much energy. It's just always like radiating off of him, and I don't know if that's intentional, or if it's just like intentional to look cool, or if it actually means that he's so powerful it just doesn't stop. But that was really cool to see. Like, that was pretty awesome. Love the ending for sure. I can't wait to see just how Barry's gonna act in this next episode, because he not only does he not have his speed, which I'm assuming is going to affect how quickly he heals, because he's still technically healed pretty quickly, and he totally should have been dead, because they fell out of the sky when he was first fighting Zoom and got stabbed in the neck. So he still had enough speed to survive that, because that really should have killed him, to be totally honest. That was like the first thing I thought, was like, he should be dead. But he heals fast enough to survive that. That was before he got hit with the second dampener too, so he was technically able to heal just a little bit before he got hit with the second one. So it'll probably be most of this next episode. It looked like there was a scene in the promo where he is standing up, but it could have just been like a close up on his face, and it just looked like he was standing. But I'm assuming he's going to heal maybe by the end of this episode, or he won't even be fighting in this episode, which would be very interesting, because I don't know how they could possibly defeat Grodd otherwise, unless they like invent some stuff, which they do every episode, so that could easily be the solution. But I'm really looking forward to this next one. I kind of can't wait just to see how Barry reacts to not being the Flash. It'll kind of be like in the first season, where his power like got siphoned off for a little bit, but this will be like this will be even worse, because that time it was like, oh, this person took my power, but that was their power, was to take other people's powers. And in this case, he lost his power. We don't know what the heck Zoom is doing. We don't know where he went or what's happening next. Um, and then Grodd comes into play, and that's just bad. That's just a huge disaster. So I'm looking forward to this next episode. I don't know if we'll see Zoom at all. I kind of doubt it, but I do want to know how much Zoom was affected, because Zoom was hit by a dampener at the end, and he freaked out. He was like screaming because he got hit in the neck. It was like he was just being shot up or something. But he fell to the ground, and then he took off. He still had his speed, and so he took off. It works enough, like just a little bit, to affect him, but he was still able to take off. So I don't know if we'll get sort of the result of that in 2 episodes, but most likely not the next one. But either way, this is a great one. I really enjoyed the comedy. It was a great comedy episode, and then the ending was like so insanely dark and serious and super awesome. Great fight scene. But it was like Barry going up against an even worse version of the Reverse Flash, because it was like, I don't know what would have happened if Barry had his lightning power, when he fought Reverse Flash. Would it have really been the same thing? And kind of like I mentioned before, Barry was meant to be like 5 years older when he first became the Flash, and that would have a bit of an effect. Like, he'd still be learning, but I think just being an older person and having experienced a bit more of life, he probably would have been able to adapt to his powers a little bit better than he initially did. So I don't know what differences it would have made initially in other timelines, but ultimately in this one, he got destroyed, and I can't wait to see what they do in these next couple of episodes. We're gonna get some other characters in pretty quick. Some very important characters related to the Speed Force are coming in pretty soon. One of which was in this episode. Wells' daughter is actually, in the comic books at least, she is a speedster. I don't know if she officially becomes like a Flash or anything like that, but I know she's a speedster in the comics. I don't know if her last name is actually Quick, but it probably is just because it's comics and they do cheesy stuff like that. But I thought that was interesting. I don't know what they're gonna do with her character or how that's gonna play out. Maybe she'll end up getting powers by accident. I don't really know, but just to throw that out there, in the comic books, she is one of the speedsters. So maybe we can look forward to that when she, finally gets free. Cisco does Vibe off of Wells, so we have that. He finds out his daughter is officially alive. So there's definitely some little things that were kind of hinted at in this one, but certainly a great episode, great comedy episode for most of it, and then just devastation at the end, but done very well. Very cool use of zoom speed, without a doubt, and just can't wait to see what they do next for these characters, especially with the way things ended for Barry. Like, because the development of the characters is one of the best things about this show. So I'm actually looking forward to just seeing the emotional side of Barry's personality when he's like, not only do I not have my speed, like I can't even. He probably can't even like move his hands at super speed at this point. But he's also paralyzed for a bit, and he had a cane, so he can technically walk, I guess. But it's probably just painful. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I, of course, want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And now we officially got Zoom for this episode. Of course, it's Enter Zoom. We got enough of them. It was saved to the very end, but it was like a solid 10 minutes. So I was totally satisfied because I was like, man, I hope it's not like saved until like the last second, which it couldn't be. It would have been the worst tease ever if they called it Enter Zoom and it was like a minute and a half of Zoom. So we got like a nice 10-minute portion of them. I of course want to know what you guys think about just the style of the character because we had our images and stuff or our little glimpses of them, but we got him in like regular motion where he wasn't super blurry or anything. It was just here's the costume, here's lightning and how fast he is, his voice a lot. So I want to know what your interpretation of Zoom is for this episode. Aside from being an insanely obvious villain, I want to know what you guys thought about Zoom. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.